Question number 91. How do you handle incomplete records when preparing a claim? No contract managers get 100% record, not even 80-90%. So the availability of record is very less. In construction, there is a culture where the people focus only on execution, not on documentation. It is good in the past decades, but it's not good now. Documentation is as much important as what you do. So when you lack of the evidences, it's the duty of the contract manager, because he's the investigation officer for the client. He has to go and sit with each department and interview them to get more details. We have to fill the gaps with the available details. So if the available details are missing, go to the next level, find the financial statements, cash flows, everything. You have to take evidences. You don't just stop with the regular logs or records, RFIs, delay events. You should go to the safety records. You should go to the quality records. If necessary, you have to take the site security documents. That's how it works. Question number 92. How do you ensure compliance with statutory requirements in contracts? The most contracts will have the list of statutory requirements you have to ensure. First of all, when you work for a repetitive client, that is not a problem. And when you're working in the same geography, it's not a problem. When you're working in multiple geography, under multiple jurisdiction, this is going to be challenging. So for every jurisdiction, you have to have what are the statutory compliances. You have to go over the permits, approvals, renewals, everything. For example, if you are working in Abu Dhabi in the oil fields, you should have an Abu Dhabi visa. You cannot enter within the Dubai visa with CNA passes. So these are the requirements you should understand, like when you work for them, from what background you are working. So these are very common requirements under each contracts of construction. So now question number 93, how do you handle overlapping claims from multiple contractors? Subcontractors. So when you handle multiple subcontractors and they have interfaces between them, sometimes the interface activities get overlapping and both parties claim that we did this, we did this. Then as an contracts manager, you have to be very clear on the scope, that who has to do this and who has done this, and what are the resources they have deployed, what are the materials they have deployed, and what is the cost for each. So that has to be done in evidence-based negotiation. And this is very critical because when more than two subcontractors are being involved, and this is a very common issue in contracts management. Question number 94. How do you manage disputes over measurements and quantities? See, as a contracts manager who has experience, I always rely on joint measurement. But joint measurement is always a requirement in the construction. But most cases, it is not possible that the contractors' manpower will be less when compared with the subcontractors' manpowers who are working in multiple areas in the same project. So at that time, that you cannot rely on every joint measurement. But when a dispute comes, yes, you have to go for a joint measurement. However, the trust has to be developed between both the parties by keeping transparency and being very fair. Once the trust is formed, you don't have to waste time on these disputes like joint measurement. So always the most important point is building the trust among the partners and stakeholders. It's either a client or subcontractor. Question number 95, how do you respond to a client's accusation of contractor cost delay? So as a contracts manager, you have to review the delay events chronologically, and without a critical path analysis, you cannot say whose delay caused the or affected the project delivery date. So a delay that's not falling on the critical path is not a delay. that we have seen in so many videos. The critical path analysis has to be done, and the critical path analysis, if the contractor's delay alone falls in the critical path without any delay or concurrent delay from the client or from the force majeure, yes, it's a fault of contractor. But if any concurrent delays comes, then both the parties are not eligible for compensations, they're eligible only for time. Okay, what if a force majeure falls in concurrent with the contractor's delay? Then it's same. The contractor is eligible for time. Is not eligible for cost. So track evidences. Yeah, because the ultimate dispute resolution may be arbitration or litigation. Everything rely only on facts. So always have a very good backup for the delay claims. 60% of construction arbitrations globally is straight away delay claims. Straight away delay claims. You heard me right. So equip yourself with delay claims. Else you are not going to play the game of construction contracts. Question number 96. How do you handle projects with unclear or fast changing scope? See, whenever you get a doubt, raise an RFI and you get a clarification. Even if the clarification is not clear, respond it again. And do not proceed for the work unless otherwise you have the clarity. Because if you are proceeding for the work without clarity, it is a risk. Okay, you are having the pressure from the client. See, you will have the pressure from the client at the starting, but you cannot pressure the client at the end for the claims. Okay, try to maintain the line of control in the contracts. So, prepare timely variation proposals, gets approvals, and then proceed for the work. Question number 97. How do you manage contract correspondence during peak pressure period? That is almost 90% of the companies are run with less resources and keep their contracts managers on pressure that they will send at least 2 to 3 notices daily. So I prioritize issues affecting the time, cost, and risk. That's the first one. First priority is the cost and the one having the heavy consequences. I prepare concise, fact-based letters and maintain a daily log to ensure nothing is missed. I coordinate with planning and engineering for accurate data, also from the other stakeholders. Even under pressure, clarity and professionalism remains essential. Question number 98. How do you ensure fairness in your contractual decisions? We have seen a similar question, right, before. So rely only on facts, not on emotions. Keep your emotions under control and evidence on priority. And always maintain transparency with other stakeholders. And do not take any biased favorism or assumptions. That will affect your decision-making credibility. So, the interpretation of the standards and contracts depends. So, that contract managers usually do by nature that they have gained the instinct over the period of time. So, that interpretation of the contracts always will be very clearly setting the grounds for the fairness in contractual decisions. Question number 99. How do you manage multi-year contracts with long claim cycles? See, this usually happens in mega projects. The project itself will be for 4 or 5 years, and the delay will be for another 3 years. You will be fighting for the claims for 2 years during the period, and then you will go for arbitration for again 2-3 years. So, how do you handle this? Because we will forget on the 7th year, we will forget what happened on the first year. So, maintain records. But when you maintain records and you see it back, you definitely everything comes to your mind. So, you have to update the claims, risks, and variation logs regularly. Conduct periodic review with the stakeholders. Preserve the entitlements by issuing timely notices. Don't allow time pass. Long projects demand structured, disciplined contract administration. So that's why mega projects need and very, 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 because it should not depend on a single contracts manager also. What if the contract manager resigns? The system has to work. You have to create a contract management system that gives the evidences or notices that sends automatically they claims even though the contracts manager is not in place. Question number 100. What makes you an effective contracts manager? So I combine a strong contractual knowledge with practical project understanding. So mere theoretical contracts management doesn't help you to keep um, the show on. You should be a very practical guy and stay calm under pressure because you are going to be in pressure always. So try to be more calm, do some meditations, do yogas, and rely on evidences, not emotions. I maintain discipline, documentation, and proactive communication, which is very two detailed words. So the most important interest in every contract is the commercial interest. That's why when you become a director, they don't call you contracts director, they call you commercial director. So by this, we come to an end of the series of 100 Q&As on for contracts managers. I hope this would have helped. For any inquiries and service related queries, please connect with the numbers given below. Thank you.